is Cubs Radio.
Cubs Radio.
Serenity Soul Sisters. So what happens when three intuitive healers get together to discuss life, love, and spirit? Well, let's just say it gets real. And a little spicy. Welcome to Serenity Soul Sisters. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Serenity Soul Sisters. I'm Barbara Califano, and I'm here with my friends, my best buddies, my co-hosts, Bobby Allison and Gina Simone. How are my girls? Hello.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. So close to Friday. So exciting. How you guys doing? I missed you all week.
Good. How are you?
I'm feeling okay. Actually, like last week we were talking about all the craziness that was going on. This week was a little better. I think the energies are they're doing whatever. They're still wonky, whatever. But we have some exciting news. We have our first guest. We're so excited to have Jeannie here today. Bobby, why don't you introduce our guest?
We have Jeannie Starr, the talented, beautiful, and the sweetest person in the world. She's so beautiful. When she tells her little story, you guys will just be blown away.
I know. I had the honor of speaking with her today. So where's Jeannie? Good Jeannie.
She's
Can you
there.
see Jeannie? I don't see Jeannie.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. It popped up on my screen. I don't get to see. We're of course, everyone knows that they're on Zoom, and I'm here at Governor's, and I love being in here. I love being here with Sally and stuff. It's great. We have a lot of fun, but I do miss my girls' presence here with me. But it's great. Technology is wonderful. We get to see everybody from a distance. And Jeannie, you're really far away from us.
I am. Really far. Yes, you're right.
I'm clear across the nation. I'm in Utah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty far.
Yeah, it is.
But you have an incredible story. And I think that we wrote, I don't know, Bobby, we have 100,000 questions. But we do have a phone line that's open, and we'll open them so people could ask questions as the program continues, because this is about near-death experience. And it's so interesting, your experience. Why don't you share with our audience today your story?
Well, thank you. And it was a privilege to talk to Barbara earlier today and share with her and get to know her a little bit. That was so much fun. And I just want to say I love Bobby to death. She's one of my favorite friends right now, and she's been such an encouragement to me, and I just really appreciate that friendship. And now I get to know Gina, and I'm so grateful just to be here. I feel really honored. But I was asked to talk about my near-death experience, and the main thing that I want to share is that through my experience that I had, I felt the pure love of God. Many times people ask me, well, how do you sum up your experience? And it's like, there are no earthly words to sum up what happened, what I experienced. And the best way to describe it is just those two words. It was pure love. That's what it was. That's what I was encompassed in. And that's what I came back to share. And that's what I want to share, is that pure love that I felt from God, that he had for me. Because that was really the first time that I felt true love for myself, because of struggles that I had had in my life leading up to that point. I didn't feel a lot of self-worth. And I was in a situation where I was kind of beaten down every day and made to feel like I wasn't worthy of anything and that I wasn't lovable. So I didn't love myself. And that's the main thing that I want to share, is this experience helped me learn to love myself and see myself in God's eyes and feel the way he loves me, so I can share his love with others. And my main message is that I was sent back to help people learn to love and believe in themselves.
Wow. That's a big task, Jeannie.
It is.
Big
It
task.
really is a big responsibility. But one that I'm honored to be able to do, one that I'm blessed to be able to do. You know, who doesn't enjoy spreading a little love and light in the world?
Right. Well, we all are, but your whole story was amazing. The whole experience of how you passed, how you came back, how you passed again, and how you were in between two worlds, and were able to remember everything because it was real. It wasn't something that your mind could conjure up. Bobby, did you want to say something?
I just want to know, and I'm sure that a lot of people will want to know a little bit more into the story of how it felt on the other side. Can you describe that? Because I had a near-death-like experience, and it was the same. And I think we spoke about this when you were here at my house. And there is no words to really describe what you feel. And I didn't even know that there was such a thing as near-death-like. But my friend Robin from Forever Family,
another beautiful soul. Yeah.
She told me when she did that at White Light one time, she was telling her story, and she said, yes, there's a new thing called near-death-like, because people that aren't on an operating table or didn't have a traumatic accident or whatever experience this same stuff in a little bit different way. And I couldn't even hardly talk for a week because I was so, it was just, I couldn't talk. The love was so intense. So I just want you to explain or describe to us and the listeners how you felt when you were in between worlds and how you felt when you were talking to God, or tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. And when you said that you weren't even able to talk because you were just encompassed in so much love, I felt like I was walking on clouds for a year after. I had a lot of very spiritual experiences leading up to the point of my experience. I was also in tremendous pain. I have a chronic illness that I've had for 33 years that has caused a lot of physical pain, but I also experienced a tremendous amount of emotional pain because of some experiences I was going through. And at this particular time, leading up to my near-death experience, I was having a lot of spiritual experiences. Some people would say I was actually having visions and I was having dreams, and I would have a dream or a vision a couple of days. I would have it, and then a couple of days later, it would actually happen. And I feel like the veil for me, the veil that's placed over our minds that separates us from the spirit world, I feel like that was growing thin for me just because of my experiences leading up to my near-death experience. So I feel like I was very close to the veil. In other words, very close to heaven, or that the heavenly space that we think of when we pass over and go back to heaven to be with God. So I feel like that was very thin for me. And I think it was preparing me for the experience that I was going to have. And I was feeling, like I said before, I did not love myself. I did not feel valued at all because I had been very much devalued. I had been I felt very betrayed by the ones that I loved the most because of experiences I was going through. So the trauma of that experience was having a great impact on my physical health. And we all know that the physical health and emotional health are tied together. We're one, we're a whole body, mind, spirit, soul. It's all tied together, so one affects the other. And this is what was happening to me, is because I was experiencing something very traumatic. So I was in the fight or flight mode, but I developed quite severe PTSD, and it was affecting my body. So I was shutting down. I was shutting down emotionally, mentally, physically, in every way. My body just got so sick that I could not handle everything. And somebody told me that I had lost my ability to thrive. And that's what was happening. But I was in so much pain emotionally that it's like I was getting to the point where my doctors were telling me, Jeannie, you're going to pass away if we can't get you the help we need, because I was in heart failure. I was in kidney failure. My body was just shutting down. I was in a lot of pain anyway because of my autoimmune disorder. So I was in pain physically and emotionally. And I was just like, I can't take this anymore. So they were telling me, get things in order because you could very well pass away, because I had gotten so sick because of the emotional impact had affected me physically, and I just couldn't, my body couldn't handle it anymore. I got down to 83 pounds, not because I wanted to and not because I wasn't eating it. It was because of the trauma. My body just was fading away. It was dwindling away. And so I was being told to prepare my will and my funeral. And at first it was really scary when doctors were telling me, you're going to die. And at first I was like, wow, that's really traumatic to hear those words. It's just really shocking. I think I was in shock for a while. But then I got to where I was at peace with it. And I think having those spiritual experiences that I had before helped me to be at peace. Even though I was in so much pain.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to know, when you say you were in so much pain, when you were taken out of your body and you died, what did you feel? What did you see? Did the pain lift? Did it dissipate? Did you get a really good feeling for life? Like, tell me about that experience.
Okay, so I actually felt the sensation and watched myself raise up into the air, like I was just lifted up. And I saw and felt my two grandmothers. I was laying on a couch. My friend was with me. She had helped me fill out an advanced healthcare directive that said I did not want to be resuscitated in the event that anything happened. I just wanted to die peacefully. I was ready to die because I was just in so much pain, and I didn't want to be brought back to be in more pain. But she was with me, and I saw and felt both my grandmothers, and I just felt their love on each side of me, a tremendous amount of love. And Christ was above me. And I felt that sensation for quite a while. I felt like all three of them were with me through the whole experience. Nothing like the love that I felt. There's just, like you say, there's no words to describe it. I was just fully encompassed in the warm arms of love. And I was taken to a place, and it was the holding space. That's what it was called. To me, it was what I've always been taught as a child, that when you die, you go to a place called the spirit world before you're assigned to wherever you go in heaven or wherever God has you go after that. But so to me, I see it, or I think of it as the spirit world, but I was told that it was called the holding space. And it was a place where spirits were crossing over. And so this is where they came when they crossed over after passing on. And just tremendous love that you cannot even comprehend feeling here. I mean, you feel it here in bits and pieces, like when I'm with my grandbabies, I feel so much love and adoration, but magnify that 10 times. And you feel surrounded in that love by God. And when I first came to the holding space and I was told what it was, we did not communicate through speaking. We communicated through our thoughts. So I could read people's thoughts and they could read my thoughts. And there were many, many spirits there. It's like spirits were coming and going, and they were moving on to the next place, wherever they were told to go. Just great love and great anticipation for goodness. I didn't see anything bad or sad. I saw everything that I saw and felt was good. It was just great anticipation for a lot of spirits were feeling great anticipation because they knew that Christ was there and that he was coming towards us and they were going to meet him. I watched that happen. I had several of my friends come to me that had passed over just recently before I had my experience. And the woman that was my friend that was sitting there with me, her son had just died a year before. And I won't get into the details of what happened, but she was very distraught because she didn't know if he was okay. She wanted to know that he was okay. Wherever he was, and that he was in a good place, and that he was being taken care of, and that he was being loved and watched over. And he came to me and he said, I want you to give my mom a message. And he was holding a little helmet and he said, tell my mom that I'm on the team. And when I came back out of this experience, I told her that, and she just got so emotional. And she's like, oh, my word. She said, when he was a child, he used to read from a book where there was a man named Captain Moroni, and he was a captain of an army, and he had a helmet. And she said, I had bought a Captain Moroni helmet for my boy when he was little, and he kept saying, Mom, I want to be on Captain Moroni's team. And so that was a message to her. He was on.
That's beautiful.
Meaning that he was on.
Jeannie,
Yes.
can I ask you, because this is all new to our listeners. It's certainly new to, I think Barbara and I, we've never had a near-death experience, Bob has. But let's just talk about this holding space, okay?
Okay.
Is this, if you could describe what was around you, and I know the feeling of pure love and the feeling of God and Christ and all that, but are you just in a vast open space? Does it feel like it's in a room? What did it feel like?
It didn't feel like in a room. I was taken to certain different places throughout my experience, but just being in this holding space, it was like a vast outdoor space. I saw white and gold. Those were the prominent colors I saw. White. Everybody was in white. Lots of white and gold. There was one point where I was taken to a beach, and of course I saw the water and I saw greenery. So it depended on where I was at the time, but in the holding space, it was just pure white.
Wow.
And you just said you had brought up your friend's son. When he came to you, is that in the holding space or once you were moved to different locations?
It was in the holding space, but we were given our own personal space when he came to me. So we weren't surrounded by other spirits when he was with me. It was one-on-one.
So if you were to say once someone crosses over and they're in that holding space, that's when they actually get to meet their loved ones on the other side who are perhaps waiting for them.
That's when I did.
Okay.
So,
That's a really nice thing to know, that we cross over, and as Jeannie is saying, and I'm sure as Bobby noticed in her near-death experience, we're not just standing there going, where is everyone and where am I supposed to go? And there's this big open sky and I don't know which way to turn, but that our loved ones are waiting for us. I find a lot of comfort in that.
Definitely. And I had been taught since a child that's what would happen. So that's what I believed anyway. But I did have loved ones come to me. I had several of them. I had several friends. And I had the coolest experience and conversations with a couple of my friends. If we have time for me to share, I would love to share those.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of my friends, her name was Terry, and she had just passed about 7 months before I had this experience. And when I met her, I felt an immediate soul connection with her. It was just a beautiful, beautiful friendship. And then she was killed in a car accident. And it was very devastating to a lot of people because she was an angel. She was just the sweetest person, and she served everybody. Even though she had her own struggles, she had tremendous struggles as well. But we were just devastated when she was killed. She came to me, and I was able to talk to her. And I shared an experience with Barbara earlier today that when I was really sick and I was told that I was in kidney failure, I had some friends call me and tell me, we have an opening to this clinic in Mexico. We really feel like it can help you. We feel like one of their relatives that was going with them wasn't able to go, and so they wanted to give the opening to me because they knew I needed it. Well, I was like, I was so sick. It's like, I don't know if I can go to Mexico. I don't know if I have the strength. And Terry came to me in spirit, and she said, Jeannie, you need to go. And she said, I will be with you every step of the way. So within a week, I was on a plane. When I was in the airport at the gate, I watched this woman come up to the gate to check in, and she walked past me, and it was like, oh my gosh, there's something about that woman. I want to get to know her. I wasn't quite sure what it was, but I got on the plane. I was using a wheelchair at the time, so they put me on first, and I watched everybody else load on. And my seat next to me was the last seat. It was the only empty seat still. And here comes this gal walking up, and she sat next to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's something to this. We're supposed to meet. And we got to talking, and we had very similar experiences in our lives. We were struggling with very similar things. And so it was just a great supportive conversation that we had with each other. We just connected. And then before we were getting ready to land, I said, I want to keep in touch with you. Can I get your contact information? So she took my phone and she started to type in her name. And so my friend's name that passed away that said, I will be with you every step of the way, her name was Terry Taylor. Well, this woman sitting next to me now, she started to type her name into my phone, and I watched her type Terry. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my gosh.
It gets
And then
better,
she-
Gina.
And then she typed Taylor. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Tell the
My-
truth, Gina. Can you believe it?
Wow.
My friend Terry Taylor, who told me she'd be with me every step of the way, literally was. I know she orchestrated that. And that just was such a tender mercy. I will never, ever forget that. And I felt so blessed. Like it was such a miracle that she orchestrated it with God
It's
to make that
crazy.
happen.
We
So
have.
that was a
sorry.
beautiful experience
It
to
is.
see her. Did you have?
I have to tell you, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but we have a ton of questions. People are writing in. Sally is here with me, and she's going to read off some questions because they're piling in. I don't want people not to get their questions answered. So let's hear what Sally has to say.
Well, Jessica Shirelli would like to know what it was like seeing Christ, and was he in the form of a person?
Oh, I had that question. That's a good question.
Jessica said that Barbara was going to try to steal her question. I'm just kidding.
So, yeah, tell them the story. I like this
Well,
one.
I'm just getting emotional sitting here thinking, feeling, realizing I was actually the presence of the Savior, my Savior. The person that I was taught growing up to love the most and to lean on. And I already have always had a great love for the Savior. I felt connected to the Savior when I was a little girl, and I didn't know why. It's like I was unusually spiritual and felt an unusually strong connection to him. And I knew it was more so than a normal person, but I didn't know why. But having him with me through that whole experience, I don't even know how to describe it, except for he's a beautiful, beautiful being. Just full of light and love, and he smiled at me so many times, and when he'd smile at me, it's like, oh my gosh, my heart just it just did wonders for my heart. And there were times where we were walking on a path together, and there were flowers, and I'd go pick a flower and I'd take it to him, and he'd just smile at me and just look at me like he was enjoying watching me enjoy the scenery around me and the beauties of it. And there were times where we'd go into like a big meadow, and he'd just sit with me, and I could talk to him, and he'd let me talk about whatever I wanted. And there were times where there were children there, and he's like, go play with the children, because he knows I love children. And that's one of my missions. I was sent back to help children, women and children, learn to love and believe in themselves. But seeing Christ, and even when I came back, he was still with me. And there were many times where I'd feel him tap my shoulder, I'd feel him wrap his arms around me, or I'd see his face and he'd smile at me. And it was times where I really needed it. Like if I was starting to forget, and he was like just there to tap my shoulder. I'm still here. I'm always with you.
Describe his eyes again to me, because when you described his eyes, you made me cry when we were talking on the phone.
Very deep, bluish
Yeah.
green eyes. The most loving eyes you'll ever see. I don't know how much to say, because I know this is sacred, but I did also see God's eyes, and they were a vibrant blue, like a cobalt blue with white streaks through them. So I just will never get them out of my mind. Just very loving, very kind, so much kindness that I felt, kindness towards me.
Can I ask you a
It was
question?
beautiful. Yeah.
It's very emotional, but do you think that God, Jesus, whomever, do you think they show us our perception of who we think they are, or do you think they show us their authentic selves?
I felt authenticity from them.
Okay. That's what I wanted
And
to
they
know,
helped
because I didn't
me-
go that far into the whole near death like experience. Mine was just in a room that was not white, light, and golden. Mine was like a grayish, and it was more mental telepathy. The love was forget it. And it was just a knowledge. But I forgot about, Bobby having a child, a relationship, and all that. So that goes away of having the physical body. Being, in that consciousness was really all it was about. And your life kind of flashes before you. But it was different because I was in a healing session. Mine wasn't, as, we talked about before, wasn't the same as yours. So I know yours went a lot deeper. I do know that between world for me was a decompression of the negative. So all that was stuck to me and part of me from the traumas of childhood and all the molesting and all of that and much more stuff, that was all kind of stripped away or made it open so that I can release it. So it was different than yours. Yours is just absolutely beautiful what you experienced. That's why I wanted to know what you thought about the perception of who he is, because I've heard other people talk about their experiences, and each one has almost the same how do you say, the same likeness of him. My friend wrote a book, which maybe she'll come on one day, Waking Up in Heaven, and if you read her book, you'll see it's kind of the same thing you said. So that's what I was just wondering. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
We have more questions. Go ahead, Sally.
One about the holding area. Julie Ann Hansen would like to know how would you describe it as being different from Earth?
Well, like Bobby said, you don't feel the pain that you feel here on Earth. It's like a release, like you were just lifted up above all of the pain of the earth, and you just encompassed in love and mercy and beauty, and you didn't feel that pain.
But as far as like how it looks, like
is it a room or is it just
no? It was
space?
like a wide open space. It almost felt like I was outside, but it was just all white.
Like on a big field, but full of white light, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You also said, Jeannie, you also said that you would go to a beach. So the beach looked like what our beaches look like here,
Right.
or a meadow. You mentioned something about a meadow. It would look similar to what we have here on Earth.
Right. When I was being shown things regarding my own personal life, because I had a lot of questions about my life, like, why did this happen? And what was this for? And so I was taken to a scene where I was on a beach of a place I had been before. And I was given some answers to questions that I had. And I don't know why I was taken to that particular beach, other than it was a place that was very special to me at one point in my life. And so I believe that's why I was taken there.
So it pretty much looks the way that we would expect Earth to look like, but just on a higher vibrational level.
Yes.
Like more vibrant, right? More vibrant, more full. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what ascension
is. It mirrors what we have here. I'm sorry, Bobby. Say it again.
Okay. Did you ever see the movie with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come? I think it's called.
Oh, yeah.
It's the painting, and it's really like we came here to really experience heaven on earth, but the negative got hold of it. So that's why it ended up being like this. So it's supposed to be the beauty of the earth, and that's what heaven is. Did you ever hear of heaven on earth? So that's kind of what it was. It was supposed to be, infinity, forever, and love and happiness and caring. And that's why we have to work our way up back to, as we talked about the fifth dimension or whatnot, or 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. But I think that I'll let Jeannie finish, because I can go off on tangents, as we know. So go ahead, Jeannie.
Do we have other? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, you had mentioned, Bobby, something about your life flashing before you. I have heard a lot of people say it does. For me, it was a beautiful, beautiful experience that lasted over several weeks. And what I was able to do is I was able to go back. I had a book that I made for my parents that has all the pictures of me and my siblings growing up. And I'm an author, so I've written thousands of poems, actually, and I incorporated poems about my family into this book. And there were pictures of me in my childhood, me as a baby. I incorporated my my children's pictures. So it was while I was going through this book, one page at a time, it was like I remembered every single experience as if I were reliving it all over again. So it wasn't a flash. It was like I was reliving every experience all over again and feeling every single emotion that I felt. When I was that 5-year-old child and playing out in the yard and climbing that tree or playing with my friends or riding my bike, I felt every single sensation. Joy, happiness.
All the fun times that you had and not to carry the other stuff. I get that. How long were you actually passed away for? How many minutes?
You know, I don't know. It seems like it was probably about 2 hours, but then over the course of the next few weeks and even months, it's like I continued to go back and forth, and I would receive more and more messages. The first message, let me just tell you this. So after I saw all of these people and I was given all these answers, I saw a group of angels just rushing because they were rushing towards the Savior because everybody was like, he's coming. And I felt that great anticipation. And for some reason, I just stood there and I was like, wait a minute, am I supposed to go in that direction? Where am I supposed to go? And I heard, should we tell her? And I said, tell me what? And they said, you need to go back. And I said, no. Please don't send me back to that cruel world. I can't go back there. And they said to me, your son needs you. And so my son had been serving a mission for our church. And he was in Pennsylvania at the time, and he was scheduled to come home exactly a week later after this near-death experience. So when they told me that, they said, your son needs you. It's like, oh, okay, I'll go back. Because as a mother, I was willing to do anything for my children. And if my son needed me, that was more important than how I felt or my pain or whatever. So it's like, right, okay, I'll go back. And then they continued to tell me as I passed in between the two worlds for the next several weeks and months, they continued to give me messages, and they told me that one of my purposes was to come back and share my music, so that through my music, I was told specifically women and children could feel God's love for them. Because that was the first time I ever felt love for myself. Because I hadn't loved myself because I wasn't treated like I was worthy of love. And so I didn't love myself. And that was the first time I felt God's pure, authentic, unconditional love for me. And so it's like, wow, I finally see who I am as a person. And if he has that much love for me and that much confidence in me, I want to go back and help other people feel his love and have that confidence and know that they are loved, know that they have a God that truly, unconditionally, perfectly loves them, and that he can bring them so much peace and so much warmth if they are willing to come to him. And so that was what I was told was part of my mission, to share my music, to help people love and believe in themselves, but also that through my eyes, they would see God's love through my eyes so that I could guide them to God. And then it was just a few weeks after I came back from that experience that I was in a meditation state, because I've done a lot of meditation. I'm a guided imagery facilitator, and I truly believe in meditation and what it can do for us. That's when I get a lot of clarity and answers and downloads. And this song came to me as a download in a meditation, and I believe it was God giving me that song directly, because this was the song he wanted me to start sharing with women and children. So I was given the means to be able to record the song, and I was given the person who needed to help me record the song. I wrote the words and the melody, and I did write a piano part. We ended up not using it, but the person that recorded the song for me, he arranged it for me and then recorded it professionally for me. And then I was also able to write the same way. I had a download come to me during meditation for a song for children called Fly, that helps teach them. It talks about how special they are and how amazing they are, and there's nobody else like them. And so it just teaches them that they're very special and unique and amazing, and that they can fly or do anything they want. And it talks about sharing love with others. And so I wrote and recorded those two songs initially. And then I did a third song as well, because I came up with something called Dream Song Packages to help women who want to write their own song for themselves, women who are struggling or wanting to start a business. I could help them write a song for their business or just a song for themselves to help them believe in themselves. So I wrote workshops as well for women and children. And I was going to use this song, it's called Just Believe, for these workshops to help people learn to love and believe themselves and know that they have people standing beside them, walking with them, so that they can do what they need to do in this life or what they dream of doing.
And we have that on a recording right now. I'd like to play it. If Sally, can you get it on for us?
If I take your hand, would you let me walk along beside you to help you understand just how much I want to stand behind you? What if I could help you truly see all that you can be if you look inside yourself and just believe? Can you feel it now as we listen to the music? It's flowing through the air. Feel the joy and spread the magic. Capture every star that you can see. Let it shine for you and me. You have so much to give the world if you just believe. Sometimes we have to go through darkness to decide we want to find the light. If we help each other through the hard times, I know that we could make it right. Sharing the colors of our lives. So let the love rain down on you and me. Let it shine to set us all free. Now as I take your hand and you let me walk along beside you, I'll help you understand just how much I want to stand behind you. What if I can help you truly see all that we can be if we look inside ourselves and just believe? What if I can help you truly see all that you can be if you look inside yourself, just believe. Can you hear the angels calling? If you listen, they are calling you. Calling you. Calling you. Can you hear the angels calling?
Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow, that was beautiful,
Excellent.
Jeannie. Excellent, excellent.
That was
Excellent.
I've heard that before. I love it.
That was
Thank you.
so inspiring.
Beautiful.
I could feel God right beside me in your words.
Ah.
And that whole feeling of just believe, which is so hard for humans to do because we are wired. If I can't see it, I can't believe it. And this song just inspired me in that 3 minutes, whatever it was, to just let go of everything that I was worried about up until that song and just let it go, and then just let God take it over, and then just believe in his presence right beside me. That was spectacular.
It is beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely
that
beautiful.
means so much to me to hear you say that.
And also, I felt the vibration in your voice. There was something like healing about that. You're like a healing voice.
Can I share something with you? I know I don't have the greatest professional voice. I just love to sing, and mostly I write music and let other people sing it. But I have to give credit. Fizz Anthony is the one that helped me arrange and record the song, and he really encouraged me to sing it, because at first I didn't plan on being the one to sing it, but he's like, no. And people have said, Jeannie, they'll hear the authenticity. They'll feel the love come from your voice. It will be genuine. It doesn't matter how professional or perfect you sound. And when I was recording this song with Fizz, my voice was tightening up, and I was having a hard time, and we were doing takes over and over and over. And he finally said to me, Jeannie, who's your favorite female singer? And I said, Karen Carpenter, and I'm getting chills. And so he put on a Karen Carpenter song, and we listened to it, and we felt her spirit come into the room. And then I invited her to sing with me. And
oh my God, I got chills. That's awesome.
I felt her singing with me. And after I sang it, Fizz was like, that was the best take so far. That's the one we're using. The very first time I shared my song with a group of friends, I hadn't shared that experience, but one of my friends said to me, you sound like Karen Carpenter. I couldn't believe it. And of course I didn't sound like Karen Carpenter. I just had her spirit with me in the song.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
I loved it.
Oh, I loved it. I'm so happy that you were able to share it with our listeners. And the girls and I are going to be posting this on our social media, so even more people are going to be able to hear this incredible song.
Yeah.
And I was listening to this going, so she can write and the girl can sing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And she writes music, Gina. She does it all. She got the
Right,
whole
she
package.
writes
She writes, she plays, and she sings.
Exactly.
Can you imagine?
She's a triple effect.
That's it.
I sing from the heart.
All the poems you've written and all that.
What's that?
I said, in all the poems that you've written and all that.
Yes. I've written a lot of songs or a lot of poems as well to help women believe in themselves and know that they're queens.
Jeannie, let me ask you, because originally when we first started the show, you said that you had a lot of self-worth issues and that you didn't really love yourself, which a lot of people can relate to, because most of us do have self-worth issues, and that you were told to come back to love and believe in yourself. Tell us what your near-death experience, how it changed you as a person, and did that happen right away or did that take time?
I felt right away, because I felt God's love so strongly. I felt like I finally know who I am for the first time. And immediately I felt that love for me that God had for me. Now, that isn't to say that I don't doubt that, and I don't slip sometimes, and I still have to continue to remind myself to love myself and to learn to stand in my power and my higher self, so that I know that I have to work on myself still, so that I can be of greater help to others. It's a continual process. I still struggle with it. It's something I'm still learning to do. And there are days where it's like, it's like, wow, I don't feel like I'm worth anything. And I'm, some days I still don't feel very lovable, but it's much better than it used to be. And I realize we have to love ourselves before we can help others love themselves. So that's something that I've really worked on, because I really, everybody is such a precious child of God, especially his daughters. He loves his daughters so much. He loves his daughters and children so much. And I want to help every woman know and feel like they are a queen, and that they are a daughter of a true king, and that they can step into that power knowing that they stem from deity. and that they have everything in them that God gave them that's right there to heal themselves or to help others or to help them step into their purpose and their full power. We have everything within us. We just need to believe.
Isn't it amazing that you are now the channel to teach everyone here on earth all of that you just mentioned, and we don't have to go through a near-death experience. We just have to listen to the words to love ourselves and believe in ourselves. And you went through this. This was your purpose, and I'm sure that you understand that. Your purpose was to go through this near-death experience so you could come back to us. How amazing.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Can I share one more experience?
Sure.
Because
Well, actually, can I
had
interrupt?
experience-
Because this question
Yes.
kind of relates to what you were just talking
Yeah.
about. It's
Sure.
it's from Maria Fazzari, and she throws this out to everyone. She wants to know, is there only one date for us to pass that we choose before we're born, or there are a few dates that we eventually choose?
That's a great question. That is a
I
great
say
question.
that there's 5 exit points is what I've been told when I read.
Yeah.
People ask me that all the time. There's always 5 exit points. I don't know if Gina gets that too, but you there could be 5 different things that happen throughout your lifetime, and if you feel that you've done everything that you've came to do, then you can exit at any one of those. That's what I was told from Spirit. Maybe it was just for that particular person, but I've heard it more times than one.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I haven't heard a number of exit points, but I can tell you in my lifetime, there were 2 exit points I could have easily taken. And for whatever reason, my soul, and they were all much younger. So there was something that my soul had to still do in this lifetime before leaving. But yes, there are several exit points that our soul can decide, okay, I'm ready to go. But as Bobby said, if there's still more learning that soul contracted to do here on earth, it may choose, I'll be fine. I may get into that accident, but I'll come out of it okay.
Yeah, I remember my father when he had quadruple bypass many years ago, and when he came to, he said to the doctor, "I died on the table, didn't I?" And the doctor said, "I got you back," And my father remembered being lifted. He watched his body being operated on. He saw his heart coming out. He saw them doing the work on him, and he saw his father. And his father, in broken English, said, "Anthony, you got to go back." My father said, "No, I want to stay here, Pop." And he says, "Anthony, you got to go back. You got more work to do." And then he felt himself, he said it was like a vacuum being pulled down back into his body. And that was it. But he said he didn't want to come back. He said it was so beautiful and it was so peaceful.
It's interesting. Jeannie said the same thing.
Yeah.
When she was told, should we tell her you've got to go back?
Yeah.
Her first feeling, and I
was like, hell no.
Yeah, exactly.
Books that
Hell
I've read.
no.
Every single person has
Right.
said, I didn't want to go back because the love, the beauty, the intensity is so great on the other side that there is nothing here on earth that actually compares to it. That, and a lot of people, it's unfortunate when we lose someone, we say, well, why did they have to leave? Or why couldn't they
Right.
try and stay? Well, because they're being brought to the other side to see this beautiful
Right.
experience. And they too don't want to come back.
Right. And we mourn them because we miss their physical. But think of the beautiful place that they went to that we get to experience later on, but they get to experience now. We cry, but we really just miss their physical. Their soul is still alive and thriving on the other side. And that's a beautiful thought to know that they're in a place of love.
Well, we cry because we want to go home too, but we know we can't.
Yeah.
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 I didn't want to come back either, but they said it's time for you to go back in, and I was like, "Go in where?"
Did you get broken
Like, I didn't
English?
know that I had a body. I was like, "What?" And
Did
they're
you
like,
get-
"It's time for you to go back in." And then the next thing I knew, I didn't feel that vacuum thing. I just felt like a woozy type of feeling, and then I felt, okay, I'm back somewhere. But then trying to crack my eyes open to realize somebody was telling me, "Come back in," and I was like, "Oh boy." And from there on, you will never forget that feeling, Jeannie. I know you won't. Anybody that's has had it, you will never forget it.
Jeannie, you wanted to share something else. Why don't you share the rest?
Well, I want to touch on, I didn't feel the vacuum being sucked back in. I felt like I was gently, slowly lifted back down into my body. It was just a very gentle thing. And I do want to say that even though I didn't want to come back, when I did come back, I was so grateful that I had been given a second chance. And then I wanted to live my life fully. It's like everything I didn't get to do before, I just want to completely live my life, because I know that we only have so much time and life is so precious. And so I had so many beautiful things come into my life over the course of the next year. It's like I was in that high vibration, and so everything beautiful just came to me. So many beautiful opportunities, beautiful friends that I met, like almost on a daily basis. It was a beautiful thing to be back. And I feel like over time I've kind of lost my grasp on that, and it's like, oh, I want to go back. I don't want to come back to this earth. It's like I've slowly been lifted down to this earth, to back to this human life. And I was telling Barbara, I feel like I've lost touch of that a little bit, and I don't want to lose it. But we just got to make every day the best that we can while we're here on earth, as we prepare to go back and look forward to go back. But there was one more experience. I know that I believe I was meant to have this near-death experience because I needed to feel God's love for me. I believe that's why I had it, and so that I could share his love with others. But there was an experience of somebody that came to me that helped me feel that love as well. And there was a man by the name of Steve Jennings. And he was an international speaker and entrepreneur, so a lot of the audience might know him. He was actually hit by a car in his late 20s, and he was pronounced dead. And they put a sheet over his body. And a few minutes later, somebody saw the sheet moving, and so they took it off, and he was alive. Well, the doctors told him he would never walk again. So he was in a wheelchair for some time, and he was determined to get out of that wheelchair. And so he learned to walk again. He learned to run again, and he went to the Olympics, and he won a silver medal in track and field.
Wow.
So he wrote the book. He would go around to events and talk about how, get out of your wheelchair. You can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to. And he wrote a book called The Way of the Invincible Warrior. I only met Steve in person in real life once at an event where he was speaking. And at that point, I used to be in a wheelchair, but I didn't have my own personal wheelchair at that point, but I had a walker and it had a seat on it, and I would sit in it and scoot myself backwards. So I looked very foolish, I'm sure. It was very silly. I felt very silly. But at this event, during the break, I had to go to the bathroom. So I got in my walker, I pushed myself back, and I was pushing myself backwards to the restroom. Well, here comes Steve walking up to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to hide, because I felt so silly. And I thought he was thinking, oh, that's so ridiculous. But he came up to me, and he smiled the biggest smile and said a hello to me. And it was so warm and so kind, and just asked me, how are you? And I just appreciated that. It was so warm. And then he, shortly before my near-death experience, he was hit by a car, and he was in a coma for 2 weeks, and then he passed away. So he came to me when I was on the other side, and I said to him, Steve, I'm so sorry what happened to you. And he said, no, don't be sorry. It was my time to come. And he said, but it's not your time. And I said, okay, but I'm really struggling physically. Can you help me get out of my wheelchair? And he said, yes, I will help you do that. And I've since been able to get out of my wheelchair. I just use it for long distances if I'm having a bad day, but I'm doing so much better. But I said to him, will you teach me how to be a warrior? And he said, Jeannie, you are already the truest of warriors. And I was like, oh my gosh, that meant the world to me. And I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that from him. And he since has come to me since then several times. He came to me in a therapy session when the therapist said, somebody's in the room with us. And so I started naming names of some of my relatives that had passed on. And she was like, no. And then I said, is it Steve Jennings? And she went, oh my gosh, I just got goosebumps. And then I got goosebumps. And she said, he's telling me to tell you that he's your protector. And so that was just really cool. That I had that experience with him.
What I love, if everyone heard, he said, get out of your wheelchair, which is confinement. Even though we may not be in a wheelchair, we are confined by things in our lives that we think we are stuck in.
Absolutely.
We need to get out of our own wheelchair. I love that. Love
Great
it.
point.
That's a great analogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all of our all of those things are in our mind, and pain, traumas, demons. It's all part of the trauma that we build up in our minds. I was just talking with somebody about this today. The past is the past, and the only thing that feeds those thoughts is right here. The more we feed them, the more they stay. Tomorrow's not here yet, so like the power of now, Eckhart Tolle, you have to see this as the gift, because it's the present, it's the gift. So I believe that when he says that, we are handicapped as much as we allow the mind to let us believe that we are.
Yes. And that's why I believe so strongly in meditation, because we can get our mind to where we want it to be. And we can imagine, if we can imagine it and feel what it feels like to be out of that wheelchair in any way that we're stuck in a wheelchair, we can bring about anything that we want in our life. What we focus on and dwell on is what comes about. I truly believe that, and I've seen that.
Well, because that's manifesting. Whatever
Yes.
you put in that image, in that imagery, that is what you'll get, because tomorrow is not here yet, as I said before. So whatever you are excited about, and you're living it like it happened already, it's going to happen. So that's the same thing. It all comes down to collective minds and getting yourself to over those hurdles or to another place. And really, it's all work right here. So the work that you're doing is amazing.
I love when you say like manifesting is the feeling, because I remember, manifesting, and you pray and you want something, but sometimes when you say it, they're just words. It's actually encompassing that feeling and that action of having and knowing that you own it already, which most people don't learn that part of what manifesting is. So, and that's so important. That's so key. But to be able to feel what you felt on the other side, and then be able to encompass that in what you want as you manifest it, it's like this golden ticket, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, it's because it's telling your higher self that you're ready to open that pathway. So if you live like it happened already, the excitement of, whatever it is that you want, a new car, a new house, a new man, a new wife, whatever, you're already expecting the universe to give that to you. So that's why it comes to a lot of people. Like, I happen to be a very good manifester, but I've been doing it for years, and it just comes to me because I expect the universe to give it to me, because I know my worth. Took a long time, my value and my worth. And that's why I talk about that in readings, because it really does work. And I'm glad that people that Jeannie speaks with, and maybe Gina and Barbara, you too, we teach them, even if it's to plant the seed, even if they don't believe it, at least it'll be planted. And when they're ready and they get to that point, they'll be able to manifest into materialization the things that they desire. It's beautiful.
It was also, we were talking earlier, Jeannie and I were talking about that, God is so good to us, and he wants us to have our heart's desire. He wants us to have everything that we want. But sometimes what we want and what we need are two different things. So what I've had to learn is that manifesting something, I try not to be too specific, because I say, Lord, whatever you feel is better for me is a choice. I'll take the higher road. I want whatever you have planned for me, because sometimes what I plan is not what's right for me, not best for me. So I try to always think, all right, God, like, we're a team here. So this is what I really want. But if you got something better going on behind door 2, I'll take that option, because I'm ready for it. So Jeannie and I were just talking about
you
that.
also have to be, I tell people too, I go, you better be careful what you manifest, and it's like, be careful what you wish for, because some people will do it and then they'll be all excited that they got that particular thing, but they're like, wait, I didn't lose the 10 pounds yet, or I didn't sell my house yet. And I go, well, why did you do it yet? Because once you feel that excitement and you manifest, it could happen the next day or the next week. Right.
But I always say, sometimes we don't think we're ready for something, but God says, oh no, you're ready. So he opens that door for you, and you have to step in, or else you lose the opportunity, I feel. That's my personal opinion. I'm sure that, opportunities will come back around and when you're truly ready. But I feel like God knows when we're ready. We just have to trust that we're ready. But on that note, ladies, can you believe this has been an hour? It has been an hour.
So, Jeannie, where could they find you if they need you?
So I have a group called Dream Believers Guided Imagery on Facebook. They're welcome to join that.
We'll post that for you too.
Thank you. Thank
Awesome.
you.
And you also have music that's available for people. If people wanted for you to write music for them, how could they reach you?
Yeah. So I can write songs for people. I also have packages where I do guided imagery integrated with the music, if they're interested in that. I have all kinds of packages available. I do not have a website right now, but I could give out my email, and people are welcome to contact me that way.
Great. What is that email?
So it's Jeannie Starr Songs. So it's spelled Jeannie, and then Starr is STARR, and then songs @gmail.com.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you so much, Jeannie, for joining us. Girls, I'll see you next week. Well, you know what? We have actually, our girl Gina's going away. Gina, where you going? Gina.
I have a grief retreat to do for the Forever Family Foundation, so I'll be in California, but we have someone sitting in, don't we?
Yes, we do. Are we going to say, should we tell them? Should we share?
Yeah.
Because I'm so excited. Our buddy Kim Russo will be here joining us next week. Yay! We're going to have so much fun. It's going to be a blast. And I don't know what we're going to talk about, but you know what? When Kim is around, there's going to be a lot to talk about. But until next time, everyone, thank you for joining us here at Serenity Soul Sisters. Thank you. Until next time, keep smiling.